The event that swept the globe, noted as unfolding in late 2019, goes beyond a simple occurrence, stretching back centuries, if not thousands of years, to the origin of an unyielding dream, the wish to govern all. This idea, born in the thoughts of one or many across different times, grew into a vast, intricate design, blending natural, communal, financial, and structural elements into a pattern of influence. What history marks as a widespread challenge was no sudden happening but the peak of a carefully shaped approach to guide humanity. Whether an actual force took hold, or existed in different shapes, is less vital than the strategy's rollout, which transformed the Earth by tapping into its linked nature, bringing to life an old hope that shifted with each era's sense of everything. In its first form, this longing sparked when a dreamer, or a group of minds, pictured steering the shared purpose of their known sphere. Back then, everything might have been a small group, a settlement, or an emerging realm, yet the drive to unite and direct it reached beyond its humble size. This aim, though basic, took hold, enduring through spoken tales, mysterious records, and the hushed passing of thoughts across ages. As societies rose and fell, the dream persisted, pulling from deep insights, power shifts, and leaps in knowledge. Like something alive, it changed, matching the methods and settings of each period, its core steady, to create one manageable whole. Years of honing turned this dream into a scheme of vast reach. Early efforts at sway leaned on might and pressure, but as people advanced, the approach moved to quieter, broader ways, events as sparks, unease as a binder, and frameworks as tools of strength. By today's time, with its tools of discovery and worldwide ties, the base was set for a design that could alter communities on a grand scale. This event, as a scheme, arose as the ideal means, real or not, its parts built to unsettle, gather, and focus authority. Its roots lie not in one instant but in a chain of purpose reaching back to the earliest days, a plan sharpened to use the weaknesses of a world grown wide yet unsteady. Carrying out this scheme called for time, vision, and flexibility. Through history, its keepers, whether a steady line or rediscoverers of the same truth, tried their ways, from disruptions to messages, each test a step toward a fuller outcome. The rise of the present, with its crowded places, fast exchanges, and linked resources, offered the perfect ground. This event, as a guided moment, fit this age-old aim, its timing and reach too exact for mere luck. What follows is a look at this dream's start, growth, fine-tuning, and success. A story of a thought that, once lit, molded time to take everything as its own, showing that a scheme's power lies not in its shape but in its pull on what's real. The wish to govern all began in the dim edges of early days, where the first hints of human longing wrestled with life's turmoil. Perhaps it was a leader, gazing from a rise, imagining a group joined under their lead, or a guide, using awe of the unknown to shape shared paths. Everything, in those ancient times, was a fleeting idea, set by the reach of a call or the span of a seeker's range, yet the urge to master it was vast. This vision, new and unshaped, planted a spark that would last through time, its tendrils sinking into the human spirit. In those early groups, power was raw, held by might, ceremony, or offers of safety. Yet, within this plainness, some saw a wider view. They grasped that lasting rule needed more than short-term loyalty. It required blending wills, quieting opposition, and crafting a common fate. This notion, bold yet unready in its day, lacked the means to fully bloom. Everything stayed a scatter of distant pockets. Still, it lived on, murmured in night tales, etched in rock, or kept in the acts of early circles. Its strength was in its reach, a dream that could fit any place or time. As people moved forward, through the clay towns of old lands, the river's rich edges, or the wide plains, the vision grew. Everything stretched with each trade path and advancing force, and the dream rose to meet it. Figures like early unifiers, joining small realms, or thinkers, shaping order, may have unknowingly carried its echo. It wasn't yet a full scheme but a repeated urge, rising in the moves of chiefs and the words of wise ones. In claims of higher rule or dreams of wider sway, the spark found ground, each turn refining the idea of one united space. The passing of this vision was gentle, often unseen. Great powers faded, leaders passed, yet the thought held, borne by wanderers, writers, and quiet keepers who saw its worth. By tougher times, it showed in hidden ways, a hint in an old record, an agreement among elders, a puzzle in a seer's voice. As groups grew tangled, so did the dream, taking in the ranks of rulers and the pull of beliefs. It grew in the shadows, fed by those who felt its draw, everything without split, guided by one intent. Everything was still narrow, its parts divided by peaks and waters, but the vision weighted, steady and firm. This start marked the birth of a scheme too big for its first makers to bring forth. It wasn't the deed of one line but a meeting of dreamers, each adding to its tale. Whether they knew it or not, their acts, victories, teachings, trade webs, built the base for a design that would span ages. The spark of rule, set in old times, held the promise of everything remade, its fullness held off until humanity's ways and links could match its scale. From this small dawn, the wish to govern all took wing, tied to shape the event noted in late 2019. As ages passed, the wish to govern all grew from a rough urge into a planned design, its edges honed by time's lessons. The fall of early greats, those of clay, stone, or silk, showed that raw might alone couldn't hold sway over a widening everything. The dream's heirs, whether leaders, minds, or quiet shapers, turned to gentler ways, crafting a path that tied unease, trust, and reliance. This shift, from dim times to clearer days, laid the way for a design like this event, less a single force, more a woven act, to bring all under one frame. In shadowed times, belief became a key to sway. A great order, uniting lands under one creed, showed how ideas could cross lines, its marches and dues early drafts for gathered rule. The dream found hints in this oneness, though gaps remained, other faiths and far-off places stood apart. At the same time, trade lines, silk paths, spiceways, widened everything, joining scattered groups. The design shifted, adding wealth's pull, worked by trade lords who saw riches as a way to mold lives. These strands, spirit and coin, wove a web of sway, pointing to a larger plan. Later eras deepened this change. Minds explored rule as an agreement, while others boiled power into a craft, each giving tools to guide without clash. Everything grew as seekers and mapmakers found new grounds, and the dream stretched to hold them. Far-reaching powers, gold fleets, sea strength, tried wide rule, their stumbles showing forces' bounds. The design's keepers learned to wait, seeing that true sway needed frameworks, not just lands. Discovery rose as a new edge, its finds, from ocean's rules to unseen threats, offering quiet tools to match old might. The dream left loud strength, taking softer ways. The age of machines sped this turn. Tracks, wires, and steam shrank everything, tying it into a net of trade and words. The design grew to use this link, seeing a way to align sway. Early tests, city shocks, trade clashes, showed how unrest could firm power. The next age sharpened this. Wide voices shaped thoughts, while vast struggles tested ties and wealth. The dream shapers, perhaps a hidden few or a repeated form, watched these steps, from past chaos to quiet contests, each a practice for a bigger act. New tools, counting machines, sky eyes, life codes, gave reach beyond old dreams. By the late 20th turn, the design had ripened into a many-sided plan. It shed need for arms. It used events as sparks, wealth as ties, and unease as hold. This event, as a guided act, drew from this line, real or not, its ways tuned to unsettle and unite. Across times, its keepers had pulled history's lessons into a path of grace and span, waiting for everything so joined that one nudge could set it right. The honing was done, a design to govern all, its old roots ready to bloom now. By the 21st turn, the wish to govern all had formed into a plan of stunning craft. This event, far from a lone force, its truth or shape unclear, this was a built frame, mixing natural pulls, mind levers, and system breaks into a tool of sway. Its build, shaped over ages, used today's weak spots, wide ties, faith in lead, frail wealth, to bring the old dream alive. This part explores how this event was shaped, whether by set acts or guided chance, to remake everything into one steerable whole. The base lay in mastery of ways. Gains in study, if a force was at play, gave a draft, means sped or raised to move fast, masked as wild starts. Yet, the plan's skill went past nature. It used unease, grown by wide reach, to still opposition, wealth's fall, sparked by stopped trade, to deepen need, and power shifts, via quick rules, to gather sway. Whether a real force came from a source, a trade spot, or not, the outcome held, a guided break built to use everything tied by travel, tools, and flows. Its moment, amid earth strain and power pulls, was no fluke but a timed move. This frame took ages to ready. Old shocks taught unease's strength, while trade fights showed how to grip wealth. The last age added fine aim, words from big clashes, watch from new tools, and wide groups from afterwar packs. The design's keepers, high ones, seekers, or shadow webs, tied these into a frame needing no one start. This event could show as a force, a tail, or a wave of rules. Its power was in its bend. Halts, covers, and cure talks weren't just replies but parts, made to ease obedience and split pushback, meeting the dream's old aim. The plan's rollout was smooth. If a real force was there, its traits, fast reach, mixed strength, fit to stir unrest without full fall, keeping frames for reshape. If not, the sense of risk, fed by counts and tails, worked. Wealth levers locked in, trade broke, small works faded, and aid flowed, tilting strength to big centers. In bonds, breaks and rules rewired ties, making lead the judge of links. In rule, edges faded as lands leaned on wide calls, softening self-rule. Each piece, from short supplies to track tools, fit the aim, everything joined under strain, its parts too split to stand. This event's frame was the peak of the dream's growth, a plan so fine it could pass as luck. Its makers, lost to time or plain to see, built a moment needing no clear proof, only ends. Real or not, it used humanity's own builds, faith, trade, tools, to set sway. The old everything, a mix of rival strengths, melted into one ground, set for steer. This was no mere break but a high stroke, its roots a line of aim from the first dreamers, now real in a design that bent truth to its old will. The spread of this event in late 2019 marked the dawn of the old wish to govern all, a plan so full it rose above needing one force. Whether a real spark swept the earth or a shaped tail stood in, the end was one, everything redone under a joined shade. This part looks at how this moment, natural, mind-based, and system-wide, met the dream's long aim, gathering strength, wiping lines, and forging one space fit for sway. The plan's first win was in rule. Leads worldwide, naming a shared risk, set steps that echoed the gathered sway dreamed by old seers. Halt stopped moves, quick calls paused ways, and watch, via tools, eyes, or pass checks, grew common. These acts, cast as need, fit the dream's goal to melt the old everythings of free lands. Wide groups set rules, while lands, once foes, matched replies, their self-rule eased by reliance. The strain birthed a world lead, quiet yet deep, ringing the old wish for one will. In wealth, this event broke and remade frames to favor gathering. Supply lines bent, showing weak spots, while small works shrank under limits. Big trades and backed strengths filled the gap, their hold set by aid and deals. Think cure makers or tool firms steering far life. Groups, hit by loss and owe, leaned on gathered help, from boosts to lifts, tying them to the plan shapers. The everything of split trades joined into a steered web, its riches and means aimed up, meeting the dream's draft of wealth unity under a guiding touch. In bonds, the plan rewrote life. Unease, of loss, lack, or shun, split ties, weakening group holds that once stood firm. Rules, whether for cover or space, eased yielding, while far platforms took real links, watched by hidden eyes. Pushback was marked rash, hushed by agreement or cuts, fitting the dream's call for a tame crowd. The everything of varied ways and routes flattened into one view, its crowd tied by a shared tale of staying. This bond reshape, whether from a force or a shade, brought the old aim of a steerable kind. In wide rule, the plan wiped old splits. Lands, seeking answers, cures, funds, or steadiness, fell into strength circles, their freedom swapped for place. Lesser ones bent to stronger, while ties turned to a gathered order. The strain pushed aside rival aims, from trade fights to earth talks, aiming eyes to one test-needing world yield. Everything, once a field of clashing grounds, became a stage for the dream's close, a joined space, its breaks mended by need. This event, as a plan, did what blades and words couldn't, everything without lines, led not by might but by weaving its own frames. Its keepers, lost to ages or near today, saw their dream bloom, a sway born of break. Real or not, the moment redid truth, proving the dream's lasting strength. The everything of 2019 was past. In its stead rose the dawn of an old hope, a mark of a plan that, once moving, took all as its own. This event, as it moved the earth from late 2019, stands as the full dawn of a wish from humanity's far past, the urge to govern all. This was no mere force, its shape, whether true, mixed, or unseen, less than its role as a plan tying natural, bond, wealth, and rule threads into a web of sway. From its birth in the minds of old seers, group heads, wise ones, or power chasers, this dream lasted, growing through ages to use today's everything as soft spots. What came was not a stray strain but the wind of a thought that, once set, bent time to its will, claiming the earth as its gain. This path crossed thousands of years, each time refining the dream's reach. In old days, it was a hush, born by tale-tellers and mark-makers, outlasting unrest. Through shadowed trust and clearer reason, it grew, dropping raw might for system sway. Today, with its wide web and discovery tools, offered the ground for this event, a moment made to join through break. Its keepers, whether a hidden chain or a repeated push, showed weight, their plans shifting from shocks to rules, each move a test for the last act. The moment's reach, amid fast words and frail frames, was the peak of this old aim. The mark of this event shows its build. In rule, it gathered strength, wiping the everythings of lands under quick lead. In wealth, it joined riches and need, tying all to one frame. In bonds, it split ties, setting a sameness fit for steer. In wide rule, it melted foes, forging one earth space. Whether a force lit this or a tale worked, the end held, everything redone, its parts and frames matched to the dream's old aim. Unease, yielding, and reliance became the bind, sealing the dream's win without one clash. This win calls for thought. Was this event the craft of a hidden few, guiding each step, or a natural growth of aim, found anew across time? The answer may rest in lost tales, clay marks, secret notes, or new stores, out of reach. What lasts is the plan's fine aim, too sharp for luck. Its roots reach to when everything was a hope, its dawn a mark of a thought's hold. Discovery, chance, and human ways joined, giving a moment needing no set shape to win, only the push to reshape truth. In its trail, this event leaves everything changed, a tale of a dream that outlived greats. The everything of old, a mix of free wills and rival strengths, is gone, swapped for one whole under a soft hold. As we move in this new way, we face that this was no fluke but the end of a plan ages in the making. The wish to govern, born in a lost mind, has won, its victory a quiet reshape of humanity's path. Who steers now, high ones, frames, or the plan itself, stays unseen, but the dream's mark is deep, everything claimed at last by the vision that birthed it.